Katie.
Hi.
Or should I say Noella 1.5?
I was gonna say, I think we've met before.
You are sitting in the chair where that dig was tossed at you by Heather Dubrow.
You know, she's like Noella 1.5.
Well, how did you feel when you heard that? Did you have a concept of who Noella was and what she meant by that when you saw that?
So when she said that, I had to kind of Google it. And I think it was meant to be a dig, but I took it as, I don't know, a compliment. Noella's gorgeous. She's funny. She's smart. She owns her business. I loved it. I embraced it. I called myself Noella 1.5 in a post.
Yes.
And I tagged you. I just wanted you to know that it was okay with me.
We'll dig into all of this. We're watching this sort of unexpected feud between you and Heather play out.
Yeah.
It all starts because you claim that you have proof that she called the paparazzi on herself.
Correct.
Do you have proof of that?
I have a screenshot of it. I mean, this guy's on speed dial for Kim Kardashian.
And Heather Dubrow too?
Why did you even reach out in the first place to find out this information?
Okay, let's clear this up. Before I even knew any of these women, I was scrolling TikTok, as one does at night with no kids, and a TikTok came up from Giorgio Says, and he was talking about how Heather allegedly called the paparazzi.
So this definitely was not Heather calling the paparazzi to come so that they could stage these photos. No.
So I thought it was funny. I screenshot it, sent it to a friend of mine who is in charge of a lot of the paparazzi operations. And I said, is this true? Like, settle this for me. I thought it was funny. Because him and I have such a deep relationship. We're really good friends. We talk about a lot of celebrities that call him. So it's just been banter. And he responded, yes. And then called me and said, why do you want to know this? And I was like, I don't know. I just thought it was funny because we talk about this a lot. And then when I met Gina, I let her know, oh, by the way, I have this thing. So it wasn't like I was trying to dig up Heather. It literally came across my For You page.
So it came up before you were even maybe in the conversation to join the show?
Correct.
Okay. So there wasn't any malintent behind seeking out that information at the time you sought it out?
No, I wasn't looking for something. I didn't come in with ill intent to hurt Heather or look for information on Heather. It kind of fell in my lap, to be honest with you, thanks to TikTok. So no, I wasn't coming out for her. I'm not jealous of her, I'm not obsessed with her, I'm not coming for her. It all just happened and it was confusing to me. All these things that were, you know, dominoing.
Do you regret bringing it up into the group then?
I regret how it was brought up. I wanted to have a conversation with her like, look, I found out this information, I'm so sorry, but heads up, I kind of told a couple people. And instead, it did not go that way.
You had a lesson in housewifery of how things, you tell somebody something, that information is no longer between two people.
You know, I know that now.
So ultimately, what did you hope the outcome was gonna be of that? Just Heather laughs it off, or?
Not knowing Heather, I thought it was gonna be a silly, funny thing. Gina and I discussed it ahead of time, and we both thought it was silly and funny. So I thought that's how she would take it, but I don't know Heather very well, and she did not take it to be silly and funny.
Had you watched the show before? Because this was obviously a story that we followed last season.
Right. I used to watch a long time ago when my kids were little, and after I met Gina, she said, you need to go back and watch last season. So I have watched, but it wasn't really in depth recently.
So she has painted this as a calculated move. You wanted to come in, you wanted to get at her, you wanted to play a game of Housewives, and that everything you're saying about her is simply a projection of who you are. What is your response to all that?
This was not calculated. This is not something I tried to think up to be on this show or to have something with Heather Dubrow. Like I said, it kind of just fell in my lap, the information. It was pretty easy to find. And I'm not her super fan. I'm just not obsessed with Heather like she claims.
And you 100% believe your friend who gave you this information?
I more than 100% believe him. I've known him for a very long time. He's a very dear friend of my husband and I's. He's very well respected in his community. I have no reason to believe he would lie about that.
So what do you then make of Heather continuing to deny that this is the truth?
Well, from what I hear from the other women, she doesn't like to be caught off guard. So I think that me catching her in this lie was more than she could handle. And let me just say, if you're not guilty of something, why are you making it such a big deal? If it's not a big deal and doesn't have any, if it's not valid, you would just brush it off and be like, that's just not true, I'm not gonna talk about it with you. But you'll just have to watch and see how she handles the rest of it.
Yeah, she doesn't like being called a liar.
Well, nobody does.
Yeah.
But it got to that point in our discussion where I used the L word that she didn't like too much.
You lied. Stop saying the word lie.
I can see straight through her.
I didn't lie.
You did. Of course, I'm going back and thinking of all the things that I could have said. You know, you do that at night when you're laying in bed, you've had an argument with somebody. There's definitely things I wish I would have said, but I think I got my point across.
She has sort of suggested that you were hell-bent on becoming a housewife and pointed to your friendships with Sutton and Cynthia and the fact that you used Gina to help locate a home, suggesting that maybe you even moved to OC from San Diego simply for the opportunity to be on this show. Can you set the record straight there?
Of course. Sutton and I have been friends for a couple years. That's long before I even considered doing Housewives. I moved to Orange County for my business that I started. My office address is in Huntington Beach, and my 2 business partners are Huntington and Newport Beach. So I was driving from San Diego back and forth. I also didn't super love living in San Diego. So when I wanted to move up to Orange County for my business, my husband was like, yeah, let's do it. That sounds like a great new adventure. So we were already moving up so that when I was talking with Housewives about joining, it kind of made sense. So no, I did not move for the show. I was not obsessed with the show. I didn't come for Heather for any purposes other than I just had some information.
So where do you and Heather exist right now? Can you be in the same room together?
You know, I don't think Heather and I care for each other, but we respect one another in a group setting. She was kind enough for Mother's Day to invite us all to Mother's Day brunch. All of us, the whole cast, really kind, and I went. And although it can be a little tense, we coexist okay.
How does this moment of friction so early in the season kind of then inform the rest of your season and how it goes?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think you'll have to watch. I don't know. I mean, I try my best to resolve with Heather and move forward. And I guess you'll see how that works out for me.
Do you have any hopes for a friendship? Do you want to have a friendship with her?
I'm not sure if I do or not, you know? Well, I think there's a lot of things said, names called. I don't know if we will ever have a friendship. I mean, hopefully down the line we would.
We'll see how reunion goes.
Yeah.
Go from there. So, because we've torn down Heather's version of events of why you joined Housewives, why did you join Housewives? How did the opportunity come to you, and why did you decide to say yes to it?
Sure. I thought this would be a great experience, especially being new to Orange County. You know, why not like do this really cool, amazing thing that I've never gotten to do? I knew it'd be challenging, but I do think everything that's challenging is the most rewarding in the end. And also, I just started a new business last year, so why not talk about my business to this great audience?
Was Gina the person who connected you to the group, as we saw? Okay.
Yeah, Gina and I met up. Sutton introduced us. Gina took me looking for a few houses in her area, and we talked for 5 hours the first day we met. She was so much fun. There's never a lack of conversation with Gina. She's so great. And so I told her, hey, listen, I might be talking, you know, about joining Housewives. And she was like, that's amazing. And so I told her, even if I don't do this Housewives thing, I would still love to be friends. And she said the same thing. So we went through it like we're just building a friendship organically.
And it worked out in both ways.
It did, yeah.
How would you review your experience so far? Because it's one thing to film the show. It's another thing to then watch the show and hear everything everyone has to say about you.
Yes. So I heard that confessionals can be hard to watch because you kind of say whatever you're thinking, and I definitely say whatever I'm thinking in these confessionals.
You're very good in them.
Thank you.
You've made me laugh multiple times.
Well, good. Thank you. There's no difference between a promise ring and a promised ring. It's just a D. I guess that's what she's getting. I heard you gotta have thick skin, and I'm trying to develop that. There's not a serum for that. And I watch most weeks like this, like behind a pillow. Like, oh God, oh God.
Who or what has surprised you the most in this experience so far?
I think my relationship with Jenn was really surprising. Right off the bat, we were close. We have so much in common. She's so kind and warm. Her and Alexis and Shannon have all been extremely welcoming to me and to this group of girls. And that was really great. I was really surprised.
Yeah, I was gonna say, from just looking on social media, you and Jenn seem very bonded. She has sung your praises everywhere.
Yeah.
You've both been praised as great additions to this group. They're like, bravo, you knocked it out of the park. 2 newbies back to back that work. Did anybody other than Heather give you a hard time, or did you find it hard to get to know them?
No, everyone else was really welcoming, really kind. Everybody was pretty much an open book with me. And I was saying that it was easy to match someone's energy. If they were being warm and welcoming, then I could easily be warm and welcoming back to them, you know? But they were all great. They were all great.
Who would you say you're closest to right now?
Definitely Jenn. We talk multiple times a day. So, I mean, yeah, she's a dear friend.
Coming from, with your husband, the sports broadcasting world, and then seeing everything that happened in her life toward the end of the season.
How's the FBI going for you?
Stop.
FBI?
What?
$16 million into his account. He didn't know where it came from.
What was it like to kind of be inside the story?
It was not easy because a lot of times it's not easy to mix personal and professional. So that wasn't easy, but we're trying to navigate that in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I'm here for her.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here for Jenn Pedranti. If she needs me, I'm in it with her.
You have a very cool modern family, and it's been a lot of fun to watch you guys so far. You seem very comfortable in those moments. How have your kids and your husband reacted to this experience? Because it's not only happening to you, it's happening to them.
I really will tell you that I think you'll see it's really cathartic for my daughter. She had a pretty tumultuous past with my ex-husband, and now considering Matt her father, her dad, it's good for her to get it out in a way that feels good for her. We only talk about it if she wants to, but this show got her to bring up a lot of things, and you'll see more of that. And like I said, my husband's been on TV for a really long time, so it's pretty easy for him. And then my youngest has done a couple of commercials. He loves being on camera, so he thought it was really fun.
One of your sons, I think, we're not going to meet him at all this
Right.
season, right? Was that his choice, his dad's choice?
So he is 14, and my ex-husband wouldn't sign off for him to be on. But my older son is 18, and so he signed his own release.
Okay.
So you'll see him.
You also have been very open about, so far from what we've seen, being adopted, not really knowing your heritage and your culture, and making that an important thing to instill in your kids. What does it mean to you to get to share that story with the world and bring some much needed representation to the world of housewives?
Well, first of all, I take a lot of pride in that. I remember being a little girl and watching the Winter Olympics and seeing the figure skaters and like Christy Yamaguchi, and I was like, I want to be a figure skater. And just seeing that made me feel good. You know, to see someone that looks like you, it's just so, it makes you feel like, oh wow, this is so cool. So that part is awesome for me. I've gotten so many DMs from Asian adoptees and Korean Americans saying how much it means to them to see Asian representation on the screen. That's huge. I'm so appreciative.
It's the kind of silver lining on the days where maybe the show is a little harsher to take, knowing
Absolutely.
that
That's the payment for those times when I'm called a name or said I'm a fan. You know, like I love that. I'll take the good and the bad.
Do you have a favorite jab so far that's been tossed your way?
Oh, the Noelle 1.5 was good.
It was pretty good, right?
That's a really good one. And I love it because Noelle is hot. There's one name that I get called in the season that I kind of think is funny. You'll hear it.
Okay.
And it kind of goes on for a couple weeks, and I kind of love that. But yeah, so far the Noella 1.5 is my favorite.
Okay, but we've got a challenger approaching at some point.
Yes, and Noella and I have a mutual friend right now trying to get us together for lunch. So we can get a Noella 1 and 1.5 photo. It'll be great.
It was the true dig was the 1.5. It's like, couldn't even just be 2?
Two? It's fine.
We've got a lot of season left to watch.
Yeah.
What are you most excited to get to either see for yourself or to see the fans experience?
Well, it was the golf event. That's just our life, so that was exciting to share. But also I'm excited for people to learn more about our family. I think there's a lot of questions. I've been getting a lot of people commenting and asking me questions like, do you have 4 baby daddies? And I'm like, no, I have 2. You know, so I think it's gonna be cool for me to let them see more into our life and what we're like.
Did your ex have thoughts on you doing this?
I'm not sure, we didn't discuss it, but I'm sure he has thoughts.
Thoughts you don't care to hear.
Correct.
Is there anything on the flip side that you're dreading knowing it's coming?
Yes, there is a trip that I'm a little bit dreading.
Which one?
Our final trip, our Europe trip. There's a lot of fun, and then there's a lot of not fun. And that was a really tough thing.
Who's responsible for the not fun part?
I think you'll have to wait and see, Brad.
That's my least favorite answer.
I know, but I can't give it away.